So you got a yes really quick. And
Because of the competition. Because I crushed the competition.
It's the day-to-day life, wanna know what it's like.
Mom!
Just an average family with a few million likes. We're a husband, a wife, and a kid in the limelight.
Mom!
24/7 just to F and get by.
Mom!
It's a house full of love, no we can't let it fade. So let's add a podcast just to make it insane. It's that MOMager life, we take it day by day.
Mom!
what do you want? I'm trying to sing a f***ing theme song.
What's up, everybody? It's Malachi.
I'm Felicia.
I'm Lauren.
And you guys are listening or watching to MOMager, a Barton Fam podcast where we take you behind the scenes of Hollywood family life. Before we get started, I just wanted to say that it's our 5th episode. And to all of you guys that are watching, I just want to say I know we are all so thankful for you guys for choosing this podcast out of so many others. And then if you guys want any access to any of our little clips or cutscenes or anything like that, go check out our Patreon.
That's right. Anything behind the scenes, we have a Patreon available where we're playing extra games. It's behind the scenes, like us trying to learn how to do TikToks. Extra little content from episodes that don't make it into the full episode. So yeah, check it out. Come subscribe to our Patreon.
Thanks
we
for all the
appreciate you
support.
guys. Yeah, for sure. We appreciate you so much. So it is our 5th episode. And it's our 2nd Barton Fam episode.
Right.
Just
We've had
the
some
3 of
great
us.
guests. We've
We
had some
have.
great
We've had some
conversations so
insane
far.
guests.
Yeah.
We've had some like really, really talented people. And
I find that I'm looking forward to doing podcasts more now than even in the beginning.
Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
Some of the nerves are starting to chill.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's like
You're
this is
relaxing a little bit?
a little bit, you know,
I
not
will
as much
say-
as Malachi would like.
I will say, I will say, and this is like in complete honesty. Our first Barton Fam first Barton
TikTok.
Fam podcast
Uh-huh.
that we did, Dad, you were like a little bit more nervous, but I this just registered in my mind. I haven't heard anything stressed or anything like that come out of your mouth, and I just want to say I'm proud of you,
Oh,
Aw.
thanks,
and you're
bud.
killing it. You're killing
Appreciate
it.
that.
It's just his stress shows up in his like, I need to make sure all the wires are perfectly
Oh, 100%.
tightened.
Yeah.
And that's we got to appreciate it though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We gotta
That's
appreciate
my
it.
love language. We'll talk about that.
Okay,
We'll
we're
talk
gonna
about that later.
later.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
That, Dad.
Yeah.
Way to connect
See,
it.
I like this guy.
Good job. Good
Love
job.
language. And here we are. It's almost Valentine's Day.
I know. We got like
We've
a
got
week
some
out.
roses in the studio for the MOMager.
Yes. Nothing like some beautiful red roses. Well, today we're going to, before we talk about the roses and Valentine's Day and all the other things, I kind of wanted to talk about the beginning. On that first episode, we talked about so many different things about our journey.
Mhm.
And we are often asked, about Malachi specifically, how did you get to where you are? Like, how did you make it? How did you
get started in the
get
business and all that?
started? Yeah.
That's
so
the most common question we hear,
Totally.
right?
100%.
so we thought it would be helpful, interesting, fun for us to just to chat about like your road to Hollywood, your road here to where you're at now, and how you kind of were discovered, quote unquote. And we've talked about pieces of this story over the years,
Mhm.
like in interviews or just with friends and family, because it's a really fun story.
Yeah.
But in order to kind of get to that place where you were discovered is a weird way to put it, but kind of.
Yes, basically.
We kind of have to, there's a little bit of a backstory. And we started that first episode, we mentioned that I was on American Idol way back in the day. And after American Idol, so we were living in Virginia Beach, Virginia at the time. Then we moved to Nashville, Tennessee. And while we were in Nashville, I was pursuing the artist thing and we decided to go out on tour. We took a tour. We were on the road for, babe, how long?
Oh my gosh, it
It
was
seven,
almost 2 months.
yeah, like 7.5 weeks. I
Look at
think.
this right here. This was our routing.
Oh
I found this on my
my
old files.
Gosh.
We must have laid our routing out on a map before we went. So you
That
can
was
see we
smart.
went Nashville to Houston
If
to
we went- wait.
Austin.
I just want to point out that it says if we would have just driven that 3 days, it would have taken 3 days and 10
Yeah,
hours. That's funny. if we'd just done that.
5,128 miles over 3 days.
But we
That's
actually put more
insane.
than that on the car. I remember we put like 8,000 or 9,000 miles on the car that
because we
trip.
spent a couple of weeks in LA driving
Yeah.
back forth back and forth between LA and San
San
Diego.
Diego.
We went San Antonio, Tucson, Phoenix, Los Angeles, San Diego.
That's
back to Los
crazy.
Angeles, then out to Park City, Utah, Denver, Colorado, Tulsa, Oklahoma. I remember we went at some point back through the panhandle of Texas, I thought.
You guys, I mean, you guys
back.
were all over. You guys were all over the place.
So it wasn't just the two of us.
Mhm.
You were also on the tour with us.
I was. It was a little bit of a blur, I'll admit, but
But you were 5 years old. It was Lauren, me, you, and Matt Goodlow. Shout out Matt.
What's up, Matt?
Playing guitar with us on the road in our Hyundai Santa Fe, pulling a trailer in the back. Lauren, you actually found a video of, there's like this little clip of you and me, Malachi, in the back seat, because we had a third row in the back of this, in the back of our Hyundai.
yeah.
And play that real quick, Lauren.
Yeah.
We had a third row in the back of the Hyundai, which you kind of like turned into your fort.
Hey, Malachi,
What?
where are we?
I don't know.
We're in Texas.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh
so we
my
basically we were on the road, like we said, for 7.5 weeks.
little.
Put 9,000 miles on the car.
You
It
really
was a
did.
lot of fun. We played house concerts, bars, clubs, festivals, church gigs, like you name it, we played it all. And we were wait, just sidebar real quick, because we were so poor back then too.
I was about to say, we almost canceled the whole tour because we weren't sure we were
almost
going to
like
be able to
weeks
afford it.
before, but then it was a gig to gig tour. Like we had to make a certain amount of money in a city in order to get to the next city.
To have the gas money to get to the next city.
Dead serious.
That's insane.
Like it was while we had our 5-year-old in the back seat of the car.
Right.
Well, I
Cool.
appreciate you guys. I never realized it. I never realized it.
Cool.
You guys did a good job. You
Cool.
did a good job.
It was fun. And you would just like fall asleep in guitar cases and audio cases and wherever, and make friends with the bartenders and stuff. Malachi, do you really have any memories from this tour? Or wait, as Matt called it, the tour.
The tour.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Tour.
tour.
Where'd that come from? Is it just his accent?
I don't know. Actually,
I
we
think
need
it
to
was.
ask
I mean,
him.
we were in Nashville. We left Nashville.
No,
we headed
he's
to
from
Texas.
Ohio. He was just like, it's the tour.
It's the tour.
yeah, we just called it tour. Anyways,
tour.
do you have any memories from the tour?
Okay, I think that, like I said earlier, it was all a little bit of a blur, but I think the first thing that comes to mind was like me dancing and like sleeping in my dad's guitar cases and dad's guitar case
Yeah.
and everything like that, and just being, I was just fully like along for the ride.
Yeah.
And I remember we got to, I think it was the show at the Grand Canyon. I
Yeah.
forget what the bar was called.
The
It was
Bright,
called-
the Bright Angel Lounge.
Yeah, the Bright Angel Lounge.
Bright Angel Lounge. I remember being there, and
Do you remember
During
the
the
bartender?
intermission.
What she would get you?
what would she get me?
She would go, like you would go up and get glasses full of cherries from the bar during the
That's
thing,
what it
and
was.
just sit and eat maraschino cherries.
That's
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I remember there was like an intermission or whatever.
Yeah.
You guys were off the stage, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna put on my own show. And so I went up and I started dancing to Justin Bieber on the stage and put on a show. I made like what, $40-$50 the first night.
Yeah, because we
Yeah.
would take breaks in between Mom's sets. So she would
Right.
like play a 45-minute set, and then we would go sell merch at the merch table.
Mhm.
And right before one of those breaks, you came up and asked, "Could you
Yeah.
get up and dance?"
And
Next
so
thing you know,
I got up and I danced and I
you're-
made like $40.
Yeah, you did. You
off
made
of
like
tips.
$40. It was so cute, but I remember it so
and then I
well
gave it to you guys for
because
the gas money.
no, you
I'm just kidding.
didn't. We would never. No, but I remember so well. We were like at the end of the set, and he came up to you while you were playing, or like right before the end of the song or something, and said, "Hey, Dad, I wanna get up and dance." And I feel like this is when everything shifted. Like you always danced around the
something
house
definitely
and like
clicked.
yeah, like
at
you
the
did
Grand
things
Canyon.
like that, but all of a sudden it was like you were watching Mom and Dad perform, and you were like, I feel like we had a tip jar too. I'm sure we did.
No,
So
I had
you-
a tip jar.
No, we had a tip jar, and you're like, wait a second. Like it was like you were putting two and two together.
Yeah.
Like if I sing and dance, maybe I can make money.
Well, I mean, maybe he was that far ahead of it. I just think that it was all there at the right place, right time. And he loved to dance. He hopped up on stage, and it was like the mixture of, oh my gosh, the room full of people is responding to me while I'm dancing and doing what I love. And then all of a sudden they start dropping money in it, because that was unexpected.
They
Right?
came up to you. I remember someone just came up to you and like handed you a $20 bill or something like that.
Yeah.
And you made like $40, which was so cute. Then after that show, he was like, I want to do that again. Cause we were playing 2 nights at the Grand Canyon. And so you were like, tomorrow night, I want to do it again. And so you did it again the next day. And then
my memory of that was that we were actually hiking the next morning in the Grand Canyon when he had that conversation with us.
It's
yeah.
very
Can
possible.
Because I remember him going, can I do it again tonight?
Yeah.
But anyways.
Well, only reason I was thinking differently is because this is so long ago, which is why our brains are like,
Yeah, mine's mush when it comes to that time.
But I remember he wanted so total over those 2 nights, I remember you made like $80. No lie.
Oh yeah, because I wanted to make more money. I was
but
like,
do you remember what you bought with your money? Because we were like, you can take it to the gift shop.
You kept. I do not remember. I thought it was rocks. I thought it was like a tooth of some sort, or like a slingshot or something.
Nope. It was just a walking stick.
Oh my gosh, it was a walking stick.
You literally wanted
with the little with the
Yes.
bone on the top of it.
Yeah, I think it did have like a bone on the top. It said the Grand Canyon on the top. We actually had it for a very, very long time. And that's the only reason that I thought maybe that's what he took after, and then he used it to go hiking.
No, I think it's still in my closet.
Seriously?
Straight up. I think it's in my closet at home.
Okay, we need to find out if it is.
It's interesting looking back. I think the 2 things that kind of lit up that day were obviously the performer in you, loved being on stage in front of people, but then the entrepreneur in you.
100%.
Right? It was like, wait a second, I can do this thing, make some money. I got a little hustle here.
Yeah.
And I mean, to this day, you're always looking for that next hustle.
And what's crazy is that kept happening for the rest of the tour. So I think actually, Lauren, you do have a video. I hope you have the video.
What are we looking for?
The one of him dancing while we were on tour.
Yes, I do.
This was at another stop.
So
we didn't show you
excited to
this.
see this.
We didn't show you this.
I haven't seen any of these guys. This is oh my gosh.
Okay, so this is at a spot in San Diego. And this guy, his name's Everett. He actually was a dancer for Vanilla Ice back in the day.
Was he really?
Crazy enough, yeah, side story.
I remember this.
And yeah, so this is you getting up with Everett dancing. Okay, play this. Hey.
Dang, a little pop and lock.
Oh, wipe your nose. A little wipe your nose. This is so cute.
And this was just you all the time, bud. How old was he, babe?
5. It's 2012.
Right.
Yeah. Did you see that?
He's like, pass it back to me. Let's go.
I love it. But
Oh,
this
there
is
he
what you
goes.
did on tour. This is like to give the people a picture of what this was like with Malachi on
That's
tour.
insane.
That's what it looked like at the Bright Angel Lounge. That's what it looked like anywhere we went. This is what you
That's
did
so
during
wild.
intermission. It was so cute, and it was always to Justin Bieber. So, in case you were wondering, yes,
I was a
Malachi is a
believer.
believer.
I was a believer.
Yeah.
I was a big
A
Justin Bieber
believer
guy.
for
Big
sure.
Justin Bieber
And
guy.
so when we got to California on tour, this is where everything kind of started to shake up. And basically what happened is we kind of like set up shop for like a week, I feel like, in California. And you guys would drop me off at sessions. So I would go write songs during the day, and we'd play shows and all these kind of things. And I was at this studio called Media Temple in Hollywood. And I go in with the songwriting team that I was with, and the owner of the studio comes into my session and he goes, "Hey, is that your kid outside dancing to Justin Bieber on top of a car?" And I was like,
Probably.
That's
Hilarious.
probably my kid. And so I
We
literally
were just
walked
posted up in the parking lot, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So I walk out of my session that I just got into, and I'm like kind of annoyed, but also like, he's doing it. He's dancing to Justin Bieber on top of a car. And so I get outside, and sure enough, you had Justin Bieber blasting, and Malachi was literally on top of the car dancing.
Yeah, I remember. That's definitely the story that I tell. There's really 2 stories when people ask me like, how'd you get into this business? There's 2 stories that I tell. One is kind of like just the quick short story of my dad asked me one day if I wanted to be a creator or consumer, and I chose creator, and then I was kind of off from there. That's the short, very short, like summarized, just like, oh yeah, that happened, and that now I do this. But the more long extended version was that time where I always tell them that story of he came out and then he got us a meeting.
Yeah. So basically, that guy, I believe his name was Brian or
maybe?
Brian.
One of the
Brian
other.
or Brad. Actually, I did
Something.
screenshot an email, so I will know.
search
I
it up.
want to tell everyone
Well,
exactly
and
what
while
his
she looks
name
for that,
is.
Malachi, I'm curious. Do you remember dancing on top of
Brad.
the car?
His name's
It was
Brad.
Brad? Okay.
Yep.
Do you remember dancing on the car? Or do you just
I-
remember from the story we told?
I think that it's mainly remembering it from the story you guys
Yeah.
told. I think that I have very vague memory of like always wanting to dance, always wanting to. I think I remember Grand Canyon more than I would remember dancing on the
Yeah.
thing. But I mean, I think I have. There's definitely a lot of remember. Like even when we were going through podcast stuff and going through like things that we wanted to share and everything like that, we found a video of when you were getting ready for the tour and it was in the garage of our old place in
Yeah.
Nashville. And I was like, oh my gosh, I remember when my dad killed a rattlesnake that was in the corner of our garage, and me and my best friend at the time, Tristan, shout out Tristan, me and him were sitting on the stairs eating Frosted Flakes.
That's hilarious.
And it's like
So
very, very
random.
specific
Right.
memories that
Yeah.
I have. But then when I really think about it, I can't remember something that happened 10 days ago, but I can remember something that happened when I was 5 years old.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
To give context, in those times when Mom would be working in the studio, you and I had hours to kill at that point. So we
Yeah.
would oftentimes, and we were like in LA for the first time.
Yeah.
So we would look for a park. We would have our baseball gloves, and that particular day it was, well, let's just chill here for a little while.
Yeah.
And
So what's
you got out and danced.
when he came out and told me you guys were out there dancing, I went outside. When I walked back in the studio, I remember very well, Brad was like, he really needs to meet my best friend's husband, who's a manager. And I was like, oh, okay, we'll see. And in LA, those are the stories you always like kind of, so everybody knows everybody,
everyone knows
everyone's
everybody.
yeah,
You
exactly.
come here, you're like, oh, this is where your dreams are going to come true.
Right.
You're going to work.
And we had kind of like already talked. You had this print agent from a friend of a friend in Nashville, Misty Griggs, I think was her name, who'd done a few print ads. You'd done like a pool toy thing and then this cover of a magazine, which actually happened after this trip. But regardless, I remember you or when I went in and I talked to him, and then later I had like taken a lunch break and he was like, no, I'm serious. Here's my email address. And then when I left, he was like, no, I'm really serious. Like you should, hit me up if you guys are interested. And so what's funny is I found that email where I was like, hey, Brad, this is Felicia. I was just there. You mentioned, connecting my son. And so we decided to kind of like take that step and take a meeting. And we didn't really know who we were going to connect with at that point.
Yeah.
But we were his best friend's husband was Brady, who was your manager for a while at the beginning, alongside Margot, who is still currently your manager. And we took that meeting. And here's what's fabulous about this is when we went in for that meeting, they said to us, so we hear you like to dance. And I was like, yeah, you should, yeah, whatever. And Lauren,
Of course,
Lauren goes,
break out
yeah,
the cell
bud.
phone.
He puts his cell phone on the table, on a giant conference room table,
This is really
and
how this went.
picks you up and puts you on top of the table, on the conference table. And he was like, yeah, go ahead and dance. And
that same way, like we saw in the video, it's just, you didn't care who was
No.
watching. Like,
Yeah. I feel
you go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say like that exactly what you just said. Like I didn't care about what anybody was watching. That's something that like people. I feel like I always see videos about as like, man, I really miss the times when I didn't care about what people
Yeah.
think, and it's like that's something that really is a big shift that you forget about. Is like
totally.
nowadays, like specifically at this age, there's so much insecurity and so much just like constantly thinking about what other people think and if who else is like looking at you, who cares about what you look like, blah
All
blah
the
blah, all that
things.
type of stuff.
Mhm.
But then you like when you really think about it, you're like, man, 10 years ago, which really isn't that long ago.
No.
10 years ago, I didn't give a shit.
Mhm.
I didn't give. I literally could not have cared less about what
Yeah.
people think. So it's like you gotta like just let out your.
You gotta
inner
channel
Malachi
that
a little bit.
Yeah,
you know what I
channel
mean?
that inner Malachi,
Yeah. But-
It was cool because I remember after that, Margot told me, she said, any kid that's willing to get up on a table and dance like that has got it.
Right.
And also, I don't know if you already said this. I might have missed this, but Margot is my
Margot's
now
still your manager.
My now manager.
Yeah,
so.
she's been managing you since the beginning.
Thank God
yeah,
you emailed.
12 years.
Thank God you emailed.
Yeah.
You took his email.
We took the chance. We said yes. And I think I think that's the thing about this business, kind of
Mhm.
going back to that question is that people ask us all the time, which is how do I get started? And I think part of it is you encourage your kids to be themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like if a kid wants to get up and dance, let them get up and dance. If they want to bang forks on a table because they're feeling the beat, then let them bang forks on the table, you know?
I mean, I did that one too many. I think my big thing was taking chopsticks and just.
Yeah, you always did that. Like, or like whatever it is. If your kid wants to be you know, an archaeologist and they love dinosaurs and let them get dirty. Like it's okay. Let them experiment with
Yeah.
what it is that they want to do, you know? Like
Right.
100%.
Yeah. Malachi, do you remember? I think whenever you would go into an audition at that young age, I used to always tell you, do your best, have fun, and be yourself.
Mhm.
I remember that.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, we didn't even talk
Yeah,
about that in a
yeah,
long
yeah.
time.
That was kind of the
The
and I
motto.
Felicia, we used to talk before that trip, before Malachi started meeting with managers and agents. Um, I remember we had seen, and maybe this will relate to parents out there. It's like you recognize that your kid is cute, has
Right.
talent. You know, he was precocious. You know,
Totally.
he was comfortable around adults. He was comfortable in his own skin. He had that kind of that spark. But we were also, I think, honest enough with ourselves to go,
Absolutely.
hey, maybe we can find a way to get him in the room, have some meetings with the right people,
Mhm.
and then let that
Yeah.
show us whether or not, because it's like, hey, maybe he's a big fish in a small pond, or
Right.
because it
Totally.
also was never about like, oh, he has to make it,
No.
Yeah.
Right.
in order to become the person that he's supposed to be, or in order to make us happy or proud of
Yeah.
him. It was just like, all right, this is the next step we can take. And there was a bit of, I think, also humility in it too. Like,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to find out how they respond. and
Totally.
are they seeing what we're seeing?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you all, like you said, I feel like every parent thinks their kid is like the cutest and the most talented
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah, totally.
And I really felt like he was very cute and most talented. But I
Yeah,
also was
totally.
like,
Of course. I get
but
it.
wow.
Sorry.
But also I was like you're saying, we being in the business, we kind of had an understanding like, okay, but maybe not. Maybe this isn't, his thing. But you locked in, and every meeting we took after that, like we immediately started taking meetings with agencies.
Right.
And it was so funny because you kind of became known as the kid that would jump up on a conference room
You know,
table.
really.
Yes.
This is fun.
Wait, Dad found this. I don't even remember this video.
Because
to be
we've had to
real.
do it
Wait,
like
what
kind
is
of a
this?
deep dive. This was a lot of years ago. So
12
this
year- or-
was 2012.
Yeah, 11 years
You know,
ago.
this was literally right after you signed to Coast. So we apparently got with you and shot a little video to
Play
say
it.
what's
It's
up
so
to your new
cute.
team. So
All right.
check it out.
Hey
This one.
Meredith, hey Seidel, hey Dana,
I can't.
hey
Dana.
Reagan, hey Renata. It's Malachi. I'm so excited you're gonna be my agents. Let's get out there and crush the competition.
I mean, competitive much?
Crush the competition. Guys, hey, guys.
Wait.
Bye. Bye.
But hey, I promise you guys, the acting business, it's not about crushing the competition. We all love each other. We're all going out for the same roles. We are here to have
I
fun
love
and make
that.
movies,
That's right.
make
That's
films,
right.
make
That's right.
projects. But that little, I don't even know, was one competitive little kid.
Well,
dude.
but I think it was just funny too.
Oh
I think
yeah,
you were probably
I was
just
like,
setting
dude,
it
I'm
to-
gonna go out there. I'm gonna crush
yeah,
the
we're
competition.
gonna get it. It was more like, we're gonna get this. I
Yeah.
can't wait to book something. Little do you know that it's literally the
that's where
beginning
I-
of hundreds and hundreds of no's that you
And-
get in this
100%.
business.
That's,
you know?
I mean, the no's are like such a big part of this whole business. It's like, if the most important thing though is that you don't let the no's define you, because
Yeah.
once you do, then it's just like you are gonna continue. You are gonna get no's.
Yeah.
And if that literally is what, like, if you're only happy if you get yeses, then
Yeah.
you're cooked, because
Totally.
I've gotten so many no's, and
Yeah.
sometimes the no's are good, because
Yeah.
sometimes the no's make room for a better project that is
Absolutely.
more your style. It's more what you
Yeah.
live by, more like, it fits your morals more, and so like it's better to get a no in the other projects so you can get a yes in the other.
Right.
Like, a better
And-
Well,
one,
you
so.
booked a yes. You got a yes really quick. And
because of the competition.
at
Because
that
I
age,
crushed the
honestly,
competition.
no, it was because you're just so freaking
Well, let's
cute.
look at this.
So
this
this
was your
is-
first yes. This was
Yep.
The Young and the Restless.
This
ICBS.
was The Young and the
ICBS.
Restless.
Tell us about this that he shot, babe. Do you remember?
Well, I was working. You're the one that went with them.
Yeah,
remember?
no. So we're outside of CBS at the Grove.
Yeah.
Which is where you
Interesting enough. Yeah, go ahead, bud.
Where I filmed American Idol when I was on it as a
Yep.
contestant, and where I filmed many years of American Idol and still filmed Dancing with the Stars. Literally right here.
So as a
It's
family,
crazy.
we've spent a lot of time on
Spent
that lot.
A lot of
That
time on
lot
that
is-
lot.
So
that's a good lot. I'm not
you
gonna lie.
literally booked a Christmas episode of The Young and the Restless.
Yeah.
That was a
and-
fun. That was a fun one.
It was your first experience.
Yeah, I
doing
mean, I have
anything
some.
like
I have
that.
some pretty good memories from it, but it's just that initial time was such a blur.
You
I
were a
was like,
kid. 5 years old.
I was just so happy to be on it and being able to do something. And
Well, let's watch it because
So-
we were.
Maybe it'll
this-
spark some of your memories.
I know.
This aired on Christmas Day. It was scheduled to air on Christmas Day. We were at home with all of our family in Virginia. We were excited to sit down with the family and watch the first thing you'd ever done on
Yeah.
TV. And then there was a massive winter storm,
Yep.
and CBS ended up pushing the broadcast to the next day. So instead of airing on December 25th,
Yeah.
it aired on the 26th. We were driving on the road to Ohio, and
From
we were
Virginia.
Yeah, from Virginia. We were somewhere out in the middle of West Virginia.
because that was our routine. That was
Yeah,
our old
we
routine. We
went
go
to
to
Vir-
Virginia, spend Christmas Day in
Yep.
Virginia, and then
Drive
drive
to Ohio.
straight to Ohio to go spend time with family in Ohio.
Yeah.
So we knew what time it was going to air, and
Yeah.
around that time we pulled off, took an exit, and we tried to find a hotel
In West Virginia.
in West Virginia that
Yeah.
might have like a TV in the lobby or something.
The first
We-
hotel would not let us sit and watch. They literally kicked us
Really?
out. They were
Yeah.
like, "No, you can't stay in here." We're like, "But my kid's gonna be on TV," and they're like, "Please leave the hotel."
yeah.
That's
Are you a guest of
crazy.
the hotel? No,
no.
get
They're
out.
like, "Bye."
That's
So then
hilarious.
we went down the street, found a place, and literally sat down together and watched this. Check it
Yeah.
out.
The Young and the Restless. It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
dramatic, dude.
Right?
It's a
It's so
soap opera.
dramatic. It's so dramatic.
This is like a dream sequence, basically.
Malachi's TV debut right here.
Your bun's over here. Stay away from that tree. What are you doing?
But Dad, I want to open up my presents.
I know you
Hey, there's
do.
a moment.
Get
Watch
away
carefully.
from
There's a
Mama.
moment where I
She
look
wants to
over
see
at my
your
dad.
presents too.
I look offset at my dad. Watch.
You know what?
Right here. Hang on.
Seeing Christmas through your eyes
Hang on. It's coming up.
makes me believe that anything is possible.
Right here.
So cute.
It's right here.
Yeah.
Right here. Watch. Watch my eyes.
Hold up.
Right there.
I was like, dude, why is this guy acting like my dad? What's happening?
And this was your mom, right?
I mean, but how fun to be able to shoot something. And you
Christmas
shot this
morning.
actually around the holidays.
Yeah.
Like, I want to say you
I-
shot it in October, November, and then it aired in December.
I think that
and
yeah.
then he wakes up from the dream.
The end.
I from now, like after watching it and everything, there are the couple things coming to my mind. Main one being like I remember walking on set that day and it was my first ever time, and I was in these pajamas, and I was like, oh, why am I wearing pajamas during the day? Why am I like I was
Right, I do
I was
remember
like-
that.
I was
Yep.
like,
I
whoa,
remember
like
you told me this.
Mhm.
my parents always make me take my pajamas off and like wear normal clothes during the day. Like what's happening? Like I'm walking on in front of all these people in my pajamas.
Yeah.
This feels super weird.
Yeah.
And then I got on set and I was super comfortable, and I loved I forget what his name was, the guy who
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
played my dad, but I loved him. He was super
Your
nice. I
character,
remember
by the
he
way,
asked-
was Riley Newman.
Riley Newman.
Mhm.
Riley Newman. But I remember him being like, he asked permission to kiss me on the forehead,
Oh, that's right.
and he was like, he asked you permission
Mhm.
to kiss me on the forehead because it was like,
Yeah.
that was
Right. thing to
makes
do.
sense.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and now
yeah,
being
yeah.
in the business for so long, like that's stuff that like
Yeah.
I ask people. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
hey, like
yeah.
anything
Can I
like
touch
that.
your hand?
All that
Yeah,
type of
you
stuff.
have to.
Yeah,
be, of
totally.
course.
And so I remember he asked that, and then I remember that I got super comfortable. Always been a mama's boy. That's been obvious. Love you, Dad. And I love you guys equally, obviously. But
You don't have to explain.
I
It's all good.
remember when the mom came on set, it was weird because it was like the way not the way she treated me, but it was like I just felt immediately like at ease when she walked
Connected.
out. Just because
Yeah.
like I don't know what it was, but
It's the mom.
yeah, no, I loved it. And then I was super sad because it was so proper and it moves really quick. And Dad, you always told me this.
Yeah, it
but-
was wild because soap operas, they might go 1 or 2, like 3 takes would be a ton.
Yeah,
Well, they
yeah.
film
And-
2 to 3 episodes a day.
Yeah, exactly. So it's super fast. And I remember you ran down the stairs, did your first take. There might have been a rehearsal before that. And then it was maybe one more take. And it was kind of at that moment where I saw you like you were in your element. You were
Yeah.
having fun. And then they were like, all right, that's a wrap. We're moving on.
Yeah.
And you ran off set and were like, Dad, I want to do it again. And I was like, oh,
That's
shoot.
it, bud.
I think that's it. You
Yeah.
know, so we like went backstage and back to some schoolwork you had to do or something like that. But
That's
Yeah.
it was like,
insane.
it was your first taste, you know, and it was awesome to see that
Yeah.
light bulb go off inside of you.
So
Loved it.
cute.
It's so nuts.
So fun. I love that that was your first experience too. Just, a really good, fun, like easy, but like a good intro
It
into
was
all
also
of
like
it.
such a cool show to be a part of for my first thing.
Oh,
Like, when
100%.
I tell people that like my first project was Young and the Restless, like
Everyone knows what the Young and the
and
Restless is.
even with Paul Walker, there's a connection there. I obviously love cars, and
I think you're going to mention that on every single podcast. ever.
100%.
By the way,
I
in case
love
anyone was
cars.
wondering, I love cars.
Love cars, but I have always loved Paul Walker. Paul Walker is my favorite. Is my favorite actor. I've
Weirdly
loved
I've
all the-
always felt connected to him.
always felt connected with him. He graduated from the same school that I went to elementary school at. He loves God, and his first job was Young and the
Was Young
Restless.
and the Restless.
And my first job was Young and the Restless. So
Yeah.
it was like there's other things, but it
Some
was
weird
like
ones. Yeah.
It was crazy when I remember what was the movie, the Fast and the Furious that we watched, where he had passed away.
Yeah.
And they brought his brother on to film the final scene.
Yeah.
And I don't remember how old you were, but you were really moved by that movie. We had a
Mhm.
family movie night.
Yeah.
You watched that movie, and at the end, the credits were playing.
It's
The s-
been a long day.
Yep. And that
Love that
song, which
song.
had been your favorite song that year.
Yeah.
Maybe
was
that's what it
playing.
was. Is the music connected.
That's where
you
it
to
started.
Yeah.
And I remember you asked at the end, I think the last shot, he's down at the beach with his kids. And then they
Well, the
brought
last shot of that movie, they drive. I know it exactly. It's Dom
Mhm.
and Paul
Walker
Walker's
car,
brother, and
yeah.
they're in 2 cars and they're racing up the freeway, and then there's a merge.
And they take that Y in
And
the
they
road.
take
Yeah.
a big separate exit.
So I don't remember if it's before that or after, but they're
I know.
at the
I know
beach
that
with,
one's.
with
Yeah, I know
the
what you're
kids.
talking about.
And then at the end, they throw up in memory of, they
Yeah.
kind of do that. And then we had to explain to you, because you were really young, like what that meant. Like,
Yeah.
actually, Bud, the guy you just watched in that movie,
He just passed
he
away.
passed away. It's
yeah.
really sad. And I remember you were deeply concerned. What about his kids
Yes.
that we had just watched? Do you remember that?
I do
You
remember
were
that.
really
Whoa.
moved. And so that was why we pulled up the Wikipedia, because we're like, honestly, Bud, I don't even know that he has kids. So we start pulling up his Wikipedia just to
Yeah.
kind of try to reassure you
Yeah.
of what was happening in real life with him.
And that's when we
And that's when we
realized that
saw,
it was
oh my
Young and the
gosh,
Restless,
gained
Village
recognition in the
Christian.
1990s after appearing in the television soap opera, The Young and the
Yeah,
Restless. And we're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what?
It was
You
so
guys
funny.
both had the same first show
Yeah.
and also went to the same school for a
Yeah.
little
And
while.
not to
So
mention, this is kind of
pretty-
But not the same birthday.
not kind of scary, but one of my dream cars is the Porsche Carrera GT, which is the car that
Oh.
Paul Walker passed away in. But
Yeah.
there's some interesting connections there.
Yeah.
Love him.
It's wild.
Love Paul
Okay.
Walker.
What a rabbit trail. Love it.
Yeah, loves kind of love
Um,
side quests.
But also, I want to go back to one of the things, part of the conversation that we're having is kind of advice getting started. Because immediately after we took those meetings with Margot and everyone at Coast, one of the things that we had to do was get headshots made like
Yeah.
really quick. And so I always tell my friends or people that I meet along the way when they're like, what do I need to do? And I'm like, first of all, do you have any headshots done? Because I can't even pass your information along to anyone until I have photos to send, because they're gonna be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
cool, do you have pictures? So I always tell people invest and get some good headshots made.
Yeah, it's so worth it.
As soon as you can. So besides just letting your kids be kids and letting their natural gifting come out, do some practical things. Like I loved what Taryn said when she and Chandler were on the episode and how she went and got on the podcast, how she went and got like 10 books from Barnes and Noble and she just read everything. I
Yeah.
think it's about educating yourself, because we immediately, when Malachi, when you were, discovered ish, that day,
Yeah.
it was like, we still had to get educated really quickly on what all of this was about, what we
Yeah.
had to do, and what we were willing to do as a family too, because we lived in another state at the time. And so we started making trips back and forth for me, for you, all of those things eventually ended up moving out, which is a whole nother podcast. But I will say, get some good headshots, get some great reels of your kids being kids and having fun, even if they're like, doing funny skits around the house or any of that kind of stuff. The other thing for us that I always try to communicate to people is get involved in some sort of local theater, TV,
Absolutely.
community theater, your school theater, anything like that. Get involved in that kind of stuff because that's where you're really gonna, just work out all the stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you're
Use your
gonna learn.
gift.
You're
Like,
gonna learn.
refine your gift.
Yeah,
Get in that
absolutely.
process. Get in that flow.
Yeah, for sure. So get those headshots done, people.
It helps. It really
Knock it
helps get your
out.
face out there.
I mean, we've got Malachi's first headshot right here.
Yes.
Do we really?
Absolutely.
We do. Andy Grant took these.
Dude,
So
I was a
Virginia Beach.
freaking
Shout
cute
out,
child. I'm
Andy.
sorry. I gotta say it.
And-
And then we
we
spent-
stud right there.
That's right. And then Margot was like, after we moved, that you signed, Andy did the first ones in Virginia Beach, and then Kenneth Dillon did that second shot. And those were so fun.
Yeah,
loved
I
it.
mean, I feel like the headshots are like such a they're such a big part of it.
to this day,
and,
we still have to do it.
Yeah, 100%. But I feel like to this day it's more of like we don't really. I don't remember the last time we like went to a studio to
Yeah,
get
I know.
headshots
I feel like
taken.
I end up taking them last minute
Yeah.
because we need something.
Yeah.
we're
But
a
it's
little
so
behind the
worth
eight
it.
ball on that.
I remember it's funny random side quest again because we love those. I remember it would always be a thing where in our old Santa Fe and like in the Fiat and all that type of stuff, our old cars, I would always like be looking in the back, like little pouch against the front seat.
Oh, we used to have those
and they were always
right.
there would always be resumes and headshots in there,
because
and there would always be older ones too.
yes. Well, because we went to back in the day, we would go
All
to
the
auditions. We would drive to
Yeah.
auditions, and you would walk in with a headshot and a resume attached to the back
Yep.
of it, and we
And
would
you'd hand it to the
had
person.
to
That's
have
right.
one. Every time we went. If you didn't have it, you might as well not even show up at that point.
Yeah.
So Malachi, what's some advice that you would give to parents? Obviously these are just a few little tidbits. You want to get started, get some shots done, let your kids be who they are, let them express themselves creatively, get involved in some local theater, get involved in some, school theater or local commercials, local agencies, that kind of stuff too. What's some advice you would give to parents that have a young kid that wants to get into the business?
Some advice that I would give to parents. It's hard. I mean, I think that like my memories of the business really start at Stuck in the Middle. And so like, so I was a little bit older. So
Mhm.
the initial like getting into it, I don't remember as well. But I think one thing that I would say to parents that have kids getting into the business and stuff like that is just to be supportive of your kid,
Yeah.
because it's like to go into this business by yourself is virtually impossible. Like it's very doable, but it is so hard to do it without having a support system behind
Even
you.
as an adult, I would say.
Oh, yeah, 100%. You got to have people that are on your side and in your corner, because there are, I'm going to be completely transparent. There's a good amount of fake people, and to be able to have people that are real
Yeah.
and that are going to be real for you and that are going to speak for you and be on your side throughout everything is so helpful. So just make sure to be there for your kid if they're wanting to do this.
Yeah.
Take the precautions, take the steps you need to take. Like my mom was saying, read the books, get the headshots taken. And that all kind of falls into the same category of just being supportive. And also don't be afraid to, like, my parents specifically have laid down a lot to let me flourish a lot in this business. And obviously they pick it back up really quickly, but like, I can only assume that you've missed a couple sessions to take me to auditions, and you've missed a couple sound checks with the
Well,
people that you've
You know
done
what it
It's
stuff
a
was
with.
is
sacrifice.
It's a
We
sacrifice,
made
yeah.
a decision early on in this as we were moving to LA, when this was beginning to work
Yeah.
out for you. We're like, oh, this is actually going to be a thing. This is actually
Yeah.
going to be a part of our life.
He loves it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we said, you know what? We want to be a part of this with him.
Yeah.
We don't want to just ship him off to someone, like,
Totally.
hire a set nanny and just send you away while we're both,
Yeah.
because we both had careers that we cared about. So we could have stayed after those things. I think we chose, no, we're going to sacrifice a little bit on the career side so that we have the time
Yeah.
to be with you.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question for you, Malachi.
Yeah.
I know you don't have many specific memories about those early days, but do you remember as we recall these stories, do you remember that as like a fun time?
100%.
Yeah.
I remember that completely as a fun time. I don't think I remembered it much as work. It
Mhm.
was like, it was the same thing that you guys had told me that I used to say when I was like, I felt I acted like I won every time I walked into an audition.
Yeah.
And so it was like, I was always there to have fun. I was just like, whoa, like the me booking it wasn't the reward for me. It was the fact that I got the opportunity to go read for characters and like pretend to
The
be somebody
audition was
and
the
like
fun time.
be able to just let myself kind of just
Right.
out on the
Right.
floor and just have fun and be able to perform these cool scenes with people. And when I would do like certain commercials and stuff like that, like,
Yeah.
oh, I get to go in and eat McDonald's. I get to go in and eat Pizza Hut. I get to
Yep.
go in and eat food for an
You
audition.
learned
Like,
about
that
craft
sounds so much
services.
fun.
Right? You learned what craft
Exactly.
Your
service was.
favorite part.
Well,
But-
that reminds me. I'm sorry, but
No, I was
Finish.
just gonna say, like, I had a great time, and it was mainly just a lot of fun. It was like I wasn't there to just stress myself out because I have work. I was there to
yeah, it
live my
wasn't
childhood
work for
throughout
you.
the-
Yeah.
And I think at your young age, it was like the auditions. It's not that it was work for you, but the auditions, it was the play.
Yeah.
You know, you're
Yeah.
a kid. Like
Yeah.
you've got these great gifts, so get out there and play.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
play with those gifts.
Let your kids play.
Mm-hmm.
Let your kids
100%.
play.
It's a
Yeah.
grind. It's a grind. It's a long.
Yeah.
It's a
but
long
you're
day
in
work.
Margot always says this too. We're in it for the long haul, right? And so there was never this like, you have to do this.
Right.
You have to book this job because, if you don't, then whatever. I don't even know. Like, that's not what we were there doing that for,
Yeah.
It was always, we want you to do what you want to do. And
Totally.
here's my other last piece of advice. Your kids don't want to do it. Don't push them to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Right.
the worst situation is for you to be trying to live vicariously through your child and
Don't
be
wanna do
like,
that.
I think they're going to be great. They're so cute, but they hate being around people, you
Yeah.
know? And that's okay. They're going to be great at something else
Mhm.
and find out what that is and encourage that. But this is such a wild business,
You really gotta want it, and you gotta love it to be able to do
Yeah.
this. But
Absolutely.
I want to detour for a little bit.
Yeah,
It
this has
is-
been fun. This has been really fun conversation.
We've talked about a lot. We've talked about me a lot. We've talked about
Your
Mom,
road to
Dad.
Hollywood, bro.
it's been the road to
Yeah.
Hollywood. But I want to kind of take a detour and talk about some love. It's
Ooh.
All right.
It's Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day. It's
Almost here.
Almost here, and it's coming up. So the first
Which is
question.
why we wore red.
Oh yeah, if you guys didn't notice, we got
We wore
roses.
red.
Shout
Wait,
out.
I have a heart on my shirt.
I don't have a heart, but we have red pants.
Babe, I
Very
love
red,
that shirt. I'm
big
just saying.
baggy
Thanks,
red
Queen of
because I'm the
pants,
queen of hearts.
That's dope. Yeah.
and then red
Gracias.
shoes, and then white.
Yeah.
We're all set. We're matching.
Yeah,
today,
we
guys.
went
We're
with
matching today.
the red vibes today.
But here's my question for you guys.
Okay.
What's your love language?
Ooh, I love this.
Ooh, great question. I wonder if our viewers know about the love languages. I mean, this has been around. for a
Okay,
little
tell us the
while.
love languages.
The love languages. Okay, so we have physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, and gift giving.
Wow,
Well
that was
done.
really fast.
That
My
was
brain
good.
did not
Yeah,
go that
yeah.
Did
fast.
I get all of them?
Yeah,
these,
you did.
These come from Dr. Gary Chapman.
Yep.
He wrote a book about this years ago. It's great. It's awesome for romantic relationships,
Friendships.
family, friendships,
Yep.
understanding. We each have our own unique way of giving and receiving
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
So one more time, it's
Physical touch,
physical touch.
words of affirmation, gift giving,
Hmm.
Quality
acts
time.
of service, and quality time.
So my love language is acts of service. It's like hands down. That used to be lower on my list. It used to be
Well, yeah, I want to
words
comment
of
on. I want to
affirmation.
comment on this because
let me just say it.
Oh, please,
It
please.
used to be words of affirmation and quality time and then acts of service. And I think life has made it kind
You
of.
were quality time
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah.
I know. Funny, right? Now acts of service.
and words of
100%.
affirmation.
I still do. I don't mind words of affirmation still.
Prepare yourself, son, because when you find the right woman, right as you start to figure out how to love her well, everything could
Changes
change.
immediately.
Yes.
Gosh, I can't
It's a
wait.
bit of a moving target, but it's
Well,
that's the fun of it.
that's right. Keep your eye on the target.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so you've
So
changed
I'm acts of service, 100%.
acts of service. Dad,
Yeah.
what about you?
Physical touch.
Yep.
We actually did a test last night just to check this out.
Yeah.
So You can go to fivelovelanguages.com if you want to.
Like I needed to know that
Right.
acts of service was my
Yeah.
love language, but
do
we
my-
didn't.
and they have a
business.
quiz. They have a free quiz you can take.
Yeah.
And I came up 40% physical touch as my top.
Again,
You were
not surprised.
38%.
37%.
acts
yeah,
of service.
Acts of service.
Right.
Yeah,
Dang.
that's it.
Yeah,
What about you? What's your love language?
I think that it's hard. I mean, I think that everybody nowadays, especially like my age, is gonna say physical touch, and I think that for me it is physical touch. Like and it's not just like the cuddling or whatever this and
No.
that. It's like the like, hey, we're sitting next to each other and our knees are touching.
Your physical touch, even
Like,
for anybody. It doesn't
I'm-
have to be a
exactly.
girlfriend.
No, well, no.
I'm saying like
with my guys, like
no, I'm just saying like even me, like you'll come up and sit up on the couch.
oh
next
yeah,
to
like
me,
with my
and you like put your hand over and like you want me to rub your
yeah, like scratching my arm, like with my
yeah.
grandma and stuff
No,
like
I'm
that.
not saying that.
When it comes to like, but I think like even with my guys, like
You
I'm
guys
always
are
wanting
huggers,
to
yeah.
dap them up.
yeah,
But I think that mainly it comes out with when I have a girlfriend. It's like I want to be like when I'm sitting next to them, I want like our little things like our knees to be touching, or like if I'm driving, I'm gonna hold their hand, or
Yeah.
like you know what I mean.
Do you
like
feel
have
like
them
it's
shift for
easy?
me.
Wow. Again, back to the car. Do
Shout
you
out.
feel like it's easy for you to recognize what like you've been in a few relationships? Do you feel like it's easy to recognize what their love languages are?
I think it honestly depends. It's definitely hard,
Yeah.
but I think that like if you really dive deep and try and figure it out, because what oftentimes is like they will tell you that it's one thing, but I truly feel like it's not that thing. So I'm
Well,
like,
let me
"Oh,
tell
dude,
you why it's hard. Here's why it's hard.
why, Dad?"
Because we are all naturally selfish.
Mm.
We see the world through our own lens.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
in my case, physical touch, similar to you, is my primary
Yeah.
love language. So I'm more than happy to come over and give you a hug. And I'm more
Yeah.
than happy to shake your hand, put my arm around you, all that. What I have to, as I grow in love and in maturity, I realize that, oh, not everybody speaks that same
Yeah,
language.
totally.
Yeah.
So to learn someone else's love language means you have to get outside of yourself
Mhm.
100%.
enough to see what their value is.
Yeah.
So maybe they love to be told, to be complimented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so maybe theirs is words of affirmation.
So this Valentine's Day, our listeners should ask themselves,
Yeah.
even for their kids, how does my kid receive love? How should I make sure that I show them that I love them the most, or my spouse or my partner, whatever. Like you should,
It's so
ask
good. Yeah.
yourself, how do they receive love? And let me be selfless and show love
Yeah.
the way that they receive it best.
Right.
I love
Okay.
that.
I may or may not have stolen some cards from your We Are Not All Strangers couples edition box.
I love that box.
Okay. Yeah. It's a fun
We got
game.
this
That's a
box
fun game.
because it like stirs up conversation, and so we keep it on our coffee table, and we'll just pull questions
So,
and ask questions.
We got a couple cards right here, and I stole some, and we have the box here because I wanted to show you guys what it is. But I went ahead and actually just wrote down some of the ones that stuck out to me. The first one was, at this point in your life, you've been married for 23 years. What is something that you wish you did more often?
more often.
More of.
Did-
What is
what is
something that
something-
you did more of? I can't read.
Okay, what is something that I wish we did more of?
Yeah.
Funny enough, we were talking to Jason about this earlier. I wish we took more like tiny trips.
Like spontaneous trips, like the one that you
spontaneous-
just did?
Yeah, well, like we just had
Guys, I
a
need to
day
know.
date.
I need to take a second to
Do you
talk
need
about
help?
this.
That's gonna
No, we're good.
okay.
I just want to take a second to say how appreciative I am of my parents. I oftentimes put them through the ringer because I'm a very spontaneous person and I
Yeah.
like to just do whatever. I woke up one morning, my dog was barking at my door, and I had two guys that had slept over at mine. We'd played Fortnite, OG Fortnite, play until like 4 a.m. And I'm like, dude, like what's happening? So I fell back to sleep. I got to wake up from a call at like 11 o'clock. My mom was like, hey. I'm like, hey, where are you guys? Like, where are you guys? And they're like, oh, we're like some Christmas town thing. And I'm like, huh? So I run on Life 360 and I check, and they are
No,
literally
we just driven up to Solvang. Yeah.
Solvang, California. And I check Life 360 and they're like 2-something hours away.
Yeah,
2 hours
aren't you
away.
proud of us?
And I was
It
so
was
proud of
literally
them.
the first day off that I've had in like 3 months.
I was so proud of them. But I
We
just
took
want to
a
say,
day date.
I'm
We
so
did.
proud.
We
So-
ended up taking a day date.
So you guys want to, you want to take
for
more?
me, it's more of that stuff. I want to take more like little like moments. away. Not because we eat dinner out all the time because of our schedule. So it's like dates to a restaurant. They're not always like special. Yeah. So like making more like weekend here or I don't know. Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. Look, I wish we went to the movies more often.
That's the most bullshit.
No, don't even say that.
No.
He's not even lying. He freaking loves the movies.
So here's the deal. My dad likes the movies, but he
We've said
falls
this. We've
asleep.
talked about this.
I know. He falls asleep at every movie.
Yeah. Okay, so you wish you'd go
So
to the
you
movies.
wish we'd go to the movies more?
Okay, got it. Note taken.
All right.
Next question.
I'll take that. I'll take
And
that.
you
I'll
want to
take
take
that into
and you want to take
consideration.
more little short trips away. I
All
got
right.
it. Great.
Next one. If you could go back to your first date, what would you tell yourself?
Ooh.
Ooh, good question.
We purposely also, just FYI, did not want to know these questions. I wanted to figure them
Oh
out.
yeah, we're hearing this for the first time.
Can you read it again? If I went
Okay.
back.
If you could go back to your first date, what would you tell yourself?
Okay, I'll start. I would say
Man, this woman
I
doesn't
would-
have a love language.
I would tell I would tell myself to always put her before being right.
You talked to me a lot about
Yes, because in the early years of our marriage, I was pretty obsessed with needing to be right. You know, we need
Sorry,
to
say that one
we
more
need-
time.
Well,
Always,
hey, yep.
that. Even though he is
heard me.
normally right.
You heard me.
always put her before being right. Okay, got it.
Absolutely, because my relationship with you is more important to me than being right about something.
Mm.
I mean, life is going to be full of hundreds, even thousands of things that we might be right or wrong about,
Yeah.
you know, and that's not as consequential as our connection at the end of the day. So early in our marriage, I made the mistake of putting those things that I thought I was fighting for, making those more important
Got it.
than,
So you would tell yourself that on a first date.
Yeah.
I love it.
yeah, absolutely.
I would say-
Save us some trouble,
Yeah.
you know,
What about
save you
also?
some wounds.
I would say don't be in a rush. Do not rush. Because
Mom's just saying that for my sake.
No, not for
They
just
got married when they were 19.
I was
She doesn't want me
19.
to
We've
do this.
said-
Is that
I've told
code for
you
like
this.
there's other fish in the sea? Don't
No,
be in a
it's
rush.
not.
you know?
No, this is not about like I made the wrong choice. I made a great choice. I'm happy with my decision. Love you.
Love you.
But just not rushing. Like we met in August of 1999. I graduated high school in June of 2000. We got engaged in August of 2000 and married in May of 2001. That's super duper fast.
When you
I was
know, you know.
19
Yeah.
and I just would tell myself, press the brake just a little bit
Mhm.
and slow down. Take some
That's
time.
wild. All right, next one. What most excites y'all about your future? So what most excites you guys about your future?
More
Wow.
weekends away.
There you go.
Same
More
as-
movies.
Yeah, I'm excited about actually returning back to a place where it's just you and me. You know,
Yeah.
that's where we're headed right now. Malachi, you're going to be graduating soon and looking at. All right,
They
settle
basically
down.
just-
Settle down.
No, they basically just said they don't love me and that they want me out of the house. Is what that just happened. Is what just happened.
What?
We're about to get back to time where it's just me and
Well,
you.
here's the
Yeah,
here
this
are
has
the
been
facts.
so
Yeah,
horrible. I mean, the
yeah.
last
No, I'm
the last
joking.
18 years have been
No,
Sucks.
so
listen,
hard.
hey, 30 minutes before we started this podcast, I was on Zillow looking for places. Not
That's
that I'm
true.
moving out next tomorrow, but
No, you're not.
I know
But-
I
And
hear
you're
what
ready
you're
to
saying. I
launch,
like
which
that.
is great. Which you should be ready to
100%.
launch. But that leaves us
Yeah.
in a place where it's the two of us again. And honestly, many parents struggle with this, and we've struggled with this. Is like you begin to find your identity in being a parent,
Yeah.
and it's easy to lose track of the relationship and
Totally.
the love and the communication and the care for each other and being able to do fun things together because you're always busy taking care of your kids.
Yeah.
So you know, this is a new chapter for us where we get to focus back in on each other again, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
It's been good so
It's
far.
fire. I'm
We're
so
learning.
excited for you
We're
guys.
growing. Yeah.
I'm so excited for you guys to do that.
I'm
And I'm
excited
gonna
about
be
that
posted
too.
up in
Thanks,
my own
bro.
crib.
I'm not excited about you piecing out, and I feel like that's weird.
I know that's tough for you.
Physical touch, see?
Yeah.
No, I'm excited about that. I'm excited about like finding out what our relationship is going to look like on the other side of not being 24/7
Mm.
raising a kid. Now just being, you know, in this being parents of an adult. You know, you're not an adult yet, but almost.
Young
but
adult.
Young adult,
Mhm.
yeah. So I'm excited about seeing what that part of our relationship looks like. Next question.
what you
Next
got for us?
question. Okay, this one's a little bit on the deeper side.
Ooh.
What has your relationship taught you most about yourself?
Ooh. What has our relationship taught me most about myself? Okay, I
got it.
know exactly
That's a
what. I'll go here. It taught me that I did not learn to listen growing up. And that is a skill that I've had to develop in adulthood, learning how to actually listen to my wife.
I like that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. So I think our relationship has taught me, wow, this is a hard one. It's probably taught me that I can't do it by myself. That like I don't want to be like I'm a pretty independent woman, you know? Like do it all myself, I can handle it, but it's probably taught me more that even though I can handle it, I don't want to handle it by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, babe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Third wheeling at its finest.
Here we
There it
go.
is. What else you got for us there?
What did you learn to not take personally about the other person?
I have learned to not take it personal when Lauren forgets to do things after I've told him that he should probably do those things multiple times because his brain just thinks differently. And so I've figured out really most recently, I would say in the last like few years, that your brain just works a little different and that's okay. And so I try to not take it personally. It doesn't mean it doesn't affect me, but I try not to take it personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Dad?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes, I can.
I was so
Listening to
entranced in listening to
What-
your mom's answer.
What did you not take personally about the other person?
Your mom is a high energy, fast moving, driven, hyper productive person.
Thank you.
And yes, exactly.
Just wait.
And so there are times when she's far too busy and there are too many things pressing to be concerned about,
Little you.
me and my, whatever it is that I'm wrestling with that particular day,
Yeah.
whether it's emotion or something I'm thinking about. And in times past, I would take it personal that she wasn't noticing what I was going through. And I think I've just learned that, well, that's the way it works when you're busy. You don't necessarily stop and notice everything. And it's not personal because I know that you love me and care about me. And when we do take time to sit down and talk about the things that matter, you're always there for me.
Yeah.
So, and we've even, in the last year done some premarital counseling work.
Premarital?
Sorry.
Not premarital.
Yes.
We've done some
Right.
marriage counseling,
Yeah.
some therapy. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's been great. It's helping us to listen to each other better and learn more about each other.
Communicate better.
All right, last question. What assumptions did you make about each other that turned out to be right?
Ooh, that turned out to be right.
That turned out to be right. What assumptions did you guys make about each other that turned out
Correct
to be right?
assumptions. Interesting.
I love that
Interesting.
because everyone focuses on the negative. I knew that you would be a great dad.
Oh, thanks.
I
babe.
knew you would be a great dad from the beginning.
Yeah. And I assumed, I'm going to be a little bit more shallow with this, but I remember from day one, I assumed that you were somebody that we'd be able to do great things together. There was just
Not
always
shallow.
that sense, from the first time I saw you, you were on stage singing and there was just something. There was magic. Magic in the air.
Get a room, you two.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, next.
That was the last question.
Okay,
That
well,
was the last
Malachi,
question.
I have a question.
Yeah.
In your quest for love in your life, are there any things that like you are going to take into your relationship that you got from us?
Absolutely not. I'm just kidding.
Wow, you answered that quick.
No, I think so. I think mainly, obviously, I'm gonna relate to Dad a lot more when it comes to that because I'm not gonna be like, oh my gosh, I want to be a mom just like you.
Well, totally.
I don't want, but like I think that when it comes to being a dad, I think I for sure look up to my dad, just the way that he's able to, how in tune he is with with your emotions and all that type of stuff, and in the sense of like how graceful you are for for mom, and when she's going through it. I think that's something super important that I'm gonna have to learn, because I'm such a driven person, and I also do the exact same thing where I need to be right. And when I'm not right, and when something's not making sense, then it's like, dude, I immediately will drop the person. Like if I'm talking to somebody and she's not being logical, and I know for a fact that I'm right, but for some reason in her brain,
For a fact.
For a fact.
You know for a fact.
or
I know exactly how many M&Ms are in that jar.
no,
I know.
like in the moment, like if I'm just like,
I know
no,
what you mean.
like I'm telling you, like this is what's happened. Like we will, and whatever, blah blah blah. I need to be right, and I think you've handled that so well, and you've grown so much with that I think I really look up to that. So I think I'd definitely take that away. But overall, I'm just gonna wing it and see what happens.
Oh, wow. Great.
So yeah,
Well, I have really loved this chat today
I have too.
about
Yeah,
like
good
the
times.
beginning of our story, and then all the Valentine's Day love stuff. Wish everyone a happy Valentine's
Happy
Day.
Valentine's Day, everybody.
From
Valentine's Day,
everybody
guys.
here at MOMager. Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming behind the scenes of our Hollywood family life.
Hey, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on them post notifications.
That's right.
And we will see you guys next time on MOMager, a Barton Fam podcast. Peace.
See you soon.
It's that